Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet with Norfleet Integrated Solutions, and it is my pleasure to have with me Jayla Barnes with Community Hospice and Palliative Care. Welcome, Jayla.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here with you this morning.
Well, thank you. First of all, I appreciate you coming back from Paris to be here.
I guess. Look, if I must, yes.
I know, I feel so honored.
Yeah, you're the first person I'm getting to say professionally this morning. I haven't even met with all of my team members from being back yet. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So Jayla, I know a lot of times we don't like to think about that, but hospice is something that a lot of us are intimately familiar with, especially as we have older relatives or, even just trauma for whatever reason. And hospice is the place where a lot of people we know.
It's the big scary word.
It is a scary word, but you wrap your arms around these people that need care at the end.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you first.
Okay.
Okay.
So I am Jayla Barnes. I've been in the medical profession now for over 20 years. And I started my career out early as a trauma nurse, ER nurse at one of our local hospitals. And I would see hospice staff coming in and out all the time. And it sparked an interest. What exactly do you do? Because as a trauma and ER nurse, we'd celebrate we did this and we got that.
But you don't a lot of times see it at the end.
We don't.
Okay.
And it would be when I would float to other floors or spend more time in the hospital that I realized, hey, that's that patient from a week ago, a month ago, or what have you. And it was after seeing the journey that families went through, patients and their families, and meeting the hospice staff, that I said, let me find out a little bit more about that. And what I found over the years is trauma taught me the beauty of life, where hospice taught me the beauty of dying. Because, there's an old adage, we all want to get to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there.
I know. That is so true.
And so what it is we meet people sometimes at the most unfortunate or traumatizing or just sad time in their lives. And our mission and challenge then is, how do we turn this into something beautiful? And it's that opportunity to be able to speak with families, find out what's important to them, where has their journey led them prior to now, and then where can we help them get to?
Okay.
And it's actually a very beautifully rewarding job. And so people are here and say, oh, that's got to be tough. And I'm like, you know what? It has its tough days, but it's more rewarding than tough.
Yeah. I think it's because you can look back and say that, you know what? I helped them in this time of need. Because I know my mother had cancer. And so we ended up having at the end, she wanted to be at home. And so we definitely, even though we have a big family, and I was probably there almost 24/7, we still needed some additional help. Yeah. And we had hospice for her.
And you're having to figure it out as you go. Whereas if you have a team of experts that can then come in and say, you be the family, take in this moment, allow us to help you manage this, and make it possible so that you can have her at home, you can have equipment you need, you can have the medications you need, and then a team of people that you can use as your sounding board. Is this okay? This is what I'm seeing. Should I be concerned, or is this normal?
Right.
And they help normalize the process so that it takes that sting away just a bit.
Yeah. I think we're going through something with another family member, so I definitely appreciate it. But can you tell us like a list of all the services that you guys just, I know it's going to be a lot, but kind of like to hit some high points.
Absolutely. So to make it make sense, I'll explain it this way.
Okay.
Palliative in and of itself is a big umbrella term. That means the alleviation of pain and suffering. It in and of itself doesn't mean dying. So that's just the big word, palliative, or to palliate, to make something better, to make something more comfortable.
And that's what I think a lot of times in hospice, that's where it's not as important as how often they take things, as long as they stay comfortable.
Correct. Numbers don't matter as much to us anymore, whereas in the hospital, they're constantly, because I'm a nurse practitioner as well, we constantly draw blood work, we're taking blood pressures, we're looking at numbers and trying to normalize numbers.
Right.
In hospice, our focus is going to be more on, let me look at you. How are you feeling? What is your pain? Are there some things that we quantify? Absolutely. But it's more or less, what is your perception of your comfort, pain? What are your goals, so that we can then meet your expectations and make this journey what it needs to be? So the palliative piece is the big umbrella term. Okay. Hospice now then focuses on what is expected to be the 6-month or less part of that journey.
Okay.
So it's almost like that 180, the 180 days of, what's important to you now.
Right.
Now, if you get 190 days or you live beyond that, yay.
Right.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. That's still part of the gift. But the focus is on comfort. The focus is on what's important to you, the family time, the milestones, the saying the words that matter most to you and your family, and focusing on that part of the journey and not just the cure or the fix.
Right.
Because aging is not a disease.
Right.
It is
it's not.
expected.
It's something that hopefully that we're all going to go through.
Absolutely.
I tell somebody that all the time. I say,
absolutely.
"Oh, aren't you sad that you have another birthday?" I say, "Oh Lord, I am so happy
Listen,
that I got to see another birthday."
And I say every system in our body has had the same birthday we did. So when the body starts to change, we help adjust with that change.
Okay.
And how do we adapt and then educate ourselves so that we, as both patients, family members, and extension of that medical community, how can we make sure we're there for the journey and just making it make sense, normalizing change in a way that it doesn't feel like a punishment or it doesn't feel like something punitive.
And to have be there with someone, because a lot of times people don't have that wraparound service or wraparound care. Yeah. That is beautiful. So so let me ask you, how do you support all these people? Because I know that it takes a lot to provide hospice care. So I know you have people that you pay, but do you also have people that volunteers and things like that?
Absolutely. So you asked earlier about the spectrum of services. So while we talked about hospice and end-of-life care and things that are specific to that, palliative care in and of itself, our organization, we have multiple programs and services available to meet the family unit as a whole, the children to the aging adult.
Right.
And so because of that wide spectrum, most insurance companies do recognize hospice care and have a benefit clause there.
Right.
But Community Hospice, we are a nonprofit. So we have some wonderful philanthropists that help make sure every patient, regardless if they have $1 in the bank or $1 million in the bank, get the same level of care that they need, get the equipment that they're going to need for whatever care setting they're going to be in. Some of our patients are at home. Some of our patients may be in our inpatient facilities. We have 10 inpatient facilities around town that are acute care facilities. They're not living facilities, but if there are things that can't be managed at home, but this patient doesn't want to go or be in a hospital because they're no longer pursuing cure, they just need some acute management. Our inpatient units are there for that. And so between the insurance benefit, philanthropy, that we're well prepared and covered to be able to meet whatever the need is financially. And then, yes, we do have some wonderful volunteers, both whether it's, we have our chaplains and social workers. We have an extensive family.
Okay,
unit.
So you need probably people on every level.
We need people on every level. And most of our volunteers have either themselves been a patient who may have want to, because of their experience, they want to be able to speak to. It's one thing to sympathize for someone, but it's another thing when you can have empathy in a way that says, I've been there.
Right.
And so we have volunteers that may themselves either have been patients or are patients. We have family members that have cared for a loved one that says, you know what, I know what I needed. I want to be to someone else what I needed.
Well, that's great.
And so our volunteer network is huge. And we're always looking for folks that want to volunteer and work with. And it doesn't always have to be volunteering in front of the patients. We have volunteers that put our care packages together. We have volunteers that may go out and read to the children that are in our services. We have volunteers that help on the behind the scenes who may have expertise in technology or putting on, they know what production looks like.
Okay.
And so they may help in that way. Retired. They may be retired from a professional career and they offer their time because of their expertise. We have pet therapy programs. I mean, you name it. We have an extensive network of people because our goal is to find out what's important to each and every patient. And then from that, we draw what matters at this phase of life and try to make sure we have that available for the next family.
Wow.
It's
such a great organization.
It's a lot.
It's such a great organization.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to learn more about the organization, maybe you piqued their interest, they want to volunteer, they want to donate.
Yes.
How do they do that?
The easiest way to reach every part of our organization is by going to communityhospice.com. Communityhospice.com will get you information about how you can refer a loved one, family member, if you want volunteer opportunities as well as donation. donations. We have our calendar of events available there. We were speaking earlier about our Halloween doors and more. Can you believe this year is half gone?
I know.
And so October will be here before you know it. So that means our planners are working hard to get things in place so that the pediatric program, and the children have what they need so that they can have an event that specifically honors them and their special needs, so that they may not be able to go out and do regular trick-or-treating, but they come dressed up in their little costumes, and there's volunteers that help the families get the other siblings, everybody, so that it's a family affair.
Wow.
And so that's in October 15th, I believe, but you can check it out on communityhospice.com, because you can find out more about the event. You can purchase tickets if needed. You also can sign up for volunteer and see what areas you might be able to help in. So,
well, Jayla, I really appreciate you coming on the show and
No
sharing with us
problem.
all this great information.
Absolutely.
And hopefully you'll get a lot of people, interests, donations, and volunteers.
That'll be great. That would be great.
All right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me. I definitely appreciate the opportunity.
No problem.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us for another episode. We learned some great information from Jayla Barnes with Community Hospice. To learn more about her, please go to communityhospice.com, and we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.